Gender affirming care. Why does it need to be affirmed if that's what you are? I don't know. As long as you're not doing it on kids, like I don't care what adults do to themselves. If they want to do XYZ, doesn't mean I approve of it, right? But it's not my business. But it is my
Yeah.
business if you're going to be doing this garbage to children.
Oh my
And
gosh, yeah.
that's where I draw the line.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it is understood, it has been understood for thousands and thousands of years that children cannot make the same decisions that adults can make. We don't let them get tattoos. We don't let them drink alcohol. We don't let them drive cars. We don't let them vote. But somehow it's okay to chemically castrate a little boy.
No, it's not. There's this family in California where the dad just lost custody of his kid, who's a little boy, because the mom in the court wanted to chemically castrate him and make him a girl.
Yeah. And the mom has been doing this to the little boy. She's been convincing the little boy that he's really a girl since he was 2 years old. That is insane. When my kids were 2 years old, they would walk up to me and say, "Hey, mommy, I'm a dinosaur. Hey, mommy, I'm a doggy." I didn't actually think that they were being literal. They're children. This is so dumb. It's so
Yeah.
dumb. And this is something like I honestly think that mom, if she's not mentally ill, that's predatorial behavior to try to
Yep.
convince a 2-year-old boy that he's actually a girl or vice versa. That's a level of narcissistic mind game that's so off the charts.
It reminds me of Munchausen syndrome.
Yes, very much so, where they try to convince their kid and their kid's doctors that their child has some sort of disease.
Wait until that
Yes.
kid grows up and he realizes what this woman has done to him.
Well, let's just pray to God that somehow, by some miracle, he is able to revert back to a healthy, normal man. Because, in the article that I read, oh, it's a chemical castration, it's reversible.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's not. That's
When
why
has
it's called
castration
castration.
ever been reversible? I can't go and get a new uterus because I just got a hysterectomy.
Yeah.
What the
Well,
heck
even
are
like,
these
even
people
if you
talking
get
about?
Yeah, even if you get your tubes tied, say you get your tubes tied, they call it reversible, but it's not always. Sometimes they reverse it and it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this whole idea that it's just like flipping a switch off and on, that's not based in reality. And that's not what they're finding with a lot of transgender youth who then try to detrans. They're finding that they can't be normal again, especially when you're talking about men who they've got, this fake vaginas gaping hole. And then, women who have there's a girl I follow. Well, I say girl, she's a young woman now, but when she was like 15, 16, she got a double mastectomy. That's
Completely
insane.
healthy,
Completely
no
healthy.
tumors.
Nothing wrong with her.
That's like me saying, I don't like my left hand. It doesn't do as much as my right hand does, so I'm just going to cut it off.
Yeah, I identify as a person with disabilities, and therefore I'm going to chop my hand off.
Hey, I can't pay my bills right now, so I mean, it might work out for me that way. No, there's
the level of crazy and the level of perversion that this crazy is enabling is off the charts. And I really think that in 10, 50 years, we're going to look back on this with the same disgust that we currently look back on guys like Josef Mengele, like the Nazi scientist who experimented on children. That's the level of psycho nasty that we have reached.
I could not agree more. I've been noticing a huge, I don't want to say trend, but a huge wave of kids who are now adults who are coming out as detransitioners, like you were saying. And what they're saying is that the medical industry has completely abandoned them because there's no recourse now. For some reason, the medical industry did not think that kids who wanted to transition as kids, really groomed by someone to do that, because kids don't just wake up and say, hey, I want to have a surgery to become a girl when they're a boy. That does not happen unless they've been fed that garbage. But there's no recourse. They have no way to fix what they've done, and doctors don't want to touch these detransitioners with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, because they're basically a walking lawsuit at that point.
Absolutely.
There's no way to fix them. You can't, I mean, I guess you can treat the symptoms, you can do different therapies, but, once a person's castrated or, given a mastectomy, I mean, that's not coming back.
No, this article from National Post that was dated October 1st, 2024, which was my birthday. So it's a special article.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, 2 months later. Thank you. Says a surgeon removed Amy's breasts the day she turned 16. She says, Amy, there was no psych evaluation, no mental health assessment before the double mastectomy to explore why she felt so unhappy and miserable with her body. When her worried parents asked the surgeon if their daughter was old enough to consent, they were assured that the surgeon had worked on even younger patients seeking female to male masculinizing chest surgery. Amy hoped her chest or top surgery would be the end of her problems. Then her mental health spiraled.
Yeah.
Now 18, in her final year of high school in Southern Ontario, Amy is reverting to her birth gender. She's detransitioning and seeking breast surgery to get her pre-transition body back. Some form of reconstruction to emulate what I could have had. Like most provinces, gender-affirming surgery is a publicly funded service in Ontario. Amy's mastectomy was covered by the Ontario Health Insurance Plan, except for only $3,000 in extra fees for chest contouring to sculpt the remaining breast tissue into a chest more resembling a male.
Uh-huh.
But Amy said she was advised by her family doctor that she couldn't make a referral for breast reconstruction because it would be considered cosmetic surgery. It's not like I had breast cancer or anything, Amy said she was told. I guess the way the government sees this is that I chose this, said Amy, whose real name is not being used to protect her identity because blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So what they're illustrating
Horrific.
here is just, it's so sad to see that so many people are coming out. And I also saw that, where'd it go? Yes, the New York Post also said we were pushed to transition as teens. Now we're vindicated by studies showing kids grow out of their desire to become a different gender. So why are we pushing these kids to do surgeries when this is just a phase of their life that they're going to go through? I remember being a little girl and thinking it was so cool that boys could stand to pee. Yeah. And I remember being in the bathroom with my mom and saying, Mom, why do I have to sit down to pee? Why can't I stand? And she said, go ahead and try it and see what happens. So when I peed all over myself, I said, that's why. That makes sense. Thanks, Mom. I don't think I need to be a boy anymore. Come on.
Yeah. Now imagine if you'd had a psycho mom who was into all this transition stuff. Can you imagine? I mean, your mom was bad enough, but these women are insane.
No.
It's just
I can't even fathom. The person who's supposed to care for you the most is the one manipulating you to think that it's okay to act like something that you're not.
I want you to go through surgery. Just that by itself, is weird to me because, I've needed surgery before. One of my daughters has needed surgery before. My dad-in-law currently needs surgery for, an injury in his back. But nobody wants surgery. It's not healthy. And
people
I
that
feel like this is
want
a mental
surgery,
illness. Huh?
People that want surgery usually are drug addicts. And I'll tell you why. Because they give you some intense pain medications after surgery.
Well, there's that. There's also people who I think are just really addicted to it. Like these people that get plastic surgery over and over and over again until they look bizarre. There's something there's a mental phenomenon that's happening there, and I think it might be related in some way to at least some of these transitioners, because it's just not it's not normal to want to change and distort your body like that.
No.
Not healthy.
No, it sure isn't.
And it's like you said, I'm not going to stop adults from doing what adults want to do. But if an adult is mentally unwell or mentally unstable, that is evil to do these surgeries on them.
Do we not have like insane asylums anymore? Did we get rid of
No.
those?
Yes.
Why? I mean, I know that
I
some of
don't
them
remember.
were
It happened in this.
like really corrupt and they were
Yeah.
abusing their patients and the medical
Yeah.
side of things
But
were
then there's also there was abuse, neglect, but also they're very expensive. For the government to take care of all the mentally ill people, and well, that was actually one of the reasons why. So my grandmother was schizophrenic, and she would get it into her head that she was the Holy Spirit, and so she would go through these phases where sometimes she'd seem normal and then she'd have a manic episode and she'd be completely, literally schizoid. But my grandfather did not want to put her in an insane asylum because they were so bad.
Yeah.
They were so bad. It was easier to try to convince her to take her medication and keep her out of that than it was to institutionalize her. And so nowadays we have hospitals for mental illness where you can get someone placed, but then they only keep them for so long.
Yeah.
It's not, they don't keep them until they get better because they're not getting better. They keep them until they're sobered up or until they're off their manic episode. And their medicine is, they're under control for now, and then they release them. And then it creates this cycle where they're just coming back, to the suicide ward or whatever every 6 months, 12 months.
Obviously, that's not sustainable, sad. Right? Like
No,
that's not working. We have a mental health epidemic, I feel like, in America. And you see that these kids that are shooting up schools and whatnot, a lot of them are on psychotropic drugs. I would say the majority of them. I think you even wrote an article about that, didn't you?
I don't remember that, but it's possible.
Everybody check out Jen's Substack. She has tons of blog posts on there.
I think I did do something. Yeah,
I thought you
but
did.
It's been a while. I don't remember exactly what I talked about.
Yeah, there's a pattern of kids being on these medications that were pushed on them because they were hyperactive or whatever the case is. I just feel like we're not doing enough for people who do have true mental health. And instead of helping them truly, we're affirming their mental health and calling it something else.
Well, there's also trauma. Like when I was a little girl, I was being abused. And so I remember wishing that I was a boy because I thought that my dad would love me more if I was a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And, if somebody had talked to me about that, if somebody had looked into our family dynamics, they would have realized, well, there is a pattern of sexual abuse and domestic violence happening here. And that's why this kid is feeling this way. I don't know that I would call that gender dysphoria, but I do think that people take they take little things like that. A child being confused, a child wishing they were something that they're not. And they turn it into this big thing, and then they subject them to all this basically medical experimentation and surgeries that are going to permanently alter their bodies. And they call that affirmation. It's insane. It's so evil.
It totally reminds me of Nazi Germany. And it's just like, I cannot get it out of my head. The experiments that they did on children.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, you read
grotesque.
That, you will never... Yeah, it will change your life.
Well, and I have twins, and to see what they did to twins or multiples it's gut-wrenching. And I'm just, every day I'm alive, I become more thankful for the blessings that God has given me, because he made us for a time such as this, and he prepared for us to walk in good works before we were even created. And I'm just so thankful that the Lord has blessed both of us in a way where we're no longer with abusive people on a regular basis anyway.
Yes, yes,
Sometimes we
yeah.
have to interact with them, but it's at a minimal at this point. And we have husbands that love us so much and protect us and guide us back to Christ and remind us of our worth and our value and care for our daughters. It's so cool that we both have 3 daughters so well. And I'm just, every day I wake up, I feel like I'm more thankful than the day before.
Yeah, absolutely.